Now we know that this r is the distance between them, right? So I can go ahead and define an origin here, and I can define a position vector where this one is at a position r1 and this charge is at a position r2. Then I can write this vector r, the distance between them, can be r2 minus r1. I can go ahead and write it as r2 minus r1. That becomes this vector. And I can see the magnitude of that is going to be equal to r. What I mean by that is more elaborately given here. So we are going to have two charges, q1 and q2. q1 is at a position of r1, the position vector. That means this is the origin. The position vector is r1. The position vector is r2. Then from q1 to q2, this r vector is going to be r2 minus r1. So remember, this r2 is going to be r1 plus r. So in other words, you can see that this vector is this vector plus this vector. So based on that, your r vector is going to be r2 minus r1. So my r, the distance between q1 and q2, that r is going to be this magnitude of r vector, which is basically the magnitude of this guy. The magnitude of r vector is going to be the magnitude of this guy, and a unit vector in the direction of r hat. Unit vector in the direction of r hat. That means in this case, a unit vector in this direction, in the direction of r, is going to be r2 minus r1 over magnitude of r2 minus r1. Yeah, unit vector is just divided by the magnitude, isn't it? Now, if you go ahead and plug it back in, we know that this force by 1 on 2, by 1 on 2. So source, destination, by 1 on 2. 1 is the source, 2 is the destination. That is going to be q1, q2 over r squared over r. But this r hat, now we know, is going to be this guy. So I'm going to substitute that in here and substitute the value of r squared to be this guy. I notice that then it's going to be q1, q2, r2 minus r1 over r2 minus r1 the whole square times r2 minus r1 the magnitude. So you clearly see that this becomes the force acting due to 1 on 2. Remember, it's always the destination minus the source. So if 1 is the source and 2 is the destination, it's always destination minus the source. If I were to swap the source and the destination as a 2, 1, then all that changes is simply, it becomes 1 minus 2, r1 minus r2. The other expression remains exactly the same. In one case, it's 2 minus 1. The other case is 1 minus 2. So that becomes f21 is going to be negative f12.